Welcome to An Awful World, but not awful like you think.
This is the show where we discuss whether we would have discovered important advances in a world exclusively full of Haylies and Libbys. I'm Haylie.
And I'm Libby. And today, we're talking about electricity. Scranton, what? The electric city. They call it that because the electricity. It's electric. Is that where you were going to go?
I was going to say electricity, electricity. It's a lot of songs about electricity.
Yeah, it's true.
I like it.
It's electrifying. Wow, there's so many references. This is ripe with references. I love it. Electricity. This is going to be our season finale today. I know, ladies and gents, but if you're not, it's just the season finale.
That's true.
Not the series finale.
We'll be back.
We will be back.
We have so many other things that we don't know if we could create or not.
Yeah. So we'll talk about that more later.
But right now, we're talking about electricity.
Right now, we're talking about electricity. Am I stalling? It's possible. It's possible. Electricity is a topic that Haylie and I discussed very organically once.
Yes.
When we still worked together. And
we spent like 3 days talking about it nonstop. And we used all our lunch breaks to watch, researching it and watching videos.
To try and understand how electricity works. And here we sit and we are still so knowledgeless on the topic of electricity.
I still don't get it.
I don't either. But we're going to get into it.
Yeah.
Because here is the fun thing about electricity. When I was researching it, I was like, thank God electricity is not that old. I mean, electricity is just a thing that exists.
Right.
But we didn't really know what it was.
But harnessing it
is
not that old.
And being able to prove that it existed. It's Ben Franklin with a key and a kite. You see it, right? Yeah. So,
and I'm like, no, I don't see it.
I'm
like, so sorry. I still don't get it.
We were doing what? So in sort of like the early days of man, we were able to observe types of electricity.
Yes.
Specifically static electricity.
Yes. And like electric fish.
Yeah. Electric fish.
Like the electric eel.
I was just about to say that. And then I did like an eel like move that you can't see. Just like, a snake. Okay.
Okay.
Are they actually electric? You know?
I don't know. This is what I found on Google. Ancient Egyptians and Greeks observed electric fish and static electricity.
Interesting.
So I assume there's something zippy about
it. There's something zippy about it.
Every time that I have discussed electricity to Libby, I use the word zippy.
Yes, because I always say, too, I don't understand what makes it zippy.
I don't either.
We're getting there.
We don't get there.
We're getting there.
On my notes, I have.
We won't get there.
What makes it zippy?
What makes it zippy? So we were able to observe static electricity, which makes sense because like any, human being that's ever lived in a house in the middle of winter, knows all about static electricity. And they were able to distinguish it from like magnetism. So they were like, this isn't magnets, but we're not sure why your hair is standing on end.
Yes, and why like it feels like there's like a little vibrating like force field.
Like there's a pull. Yeah. But it's not
magnets because metal doesn't have to be involved.
No, it sure doesn't for electricity to be a thing. So it wasn't until like the 1600s where there was like at least some quote unquote early scientific discovery and that we were able to, come up with like conductors and insulators and things like that. But still, again, like very like we don't we know that these things are conductors of electricity. But we don't know how to get things to conduct on them naturally, organically, right?
So is this then when Ben Franklin comes in?
Yes.
And when is that?
1752.
Okay.
Ben Franklin does his
So before the post office.
And a kite. Before the post office. So he was busy with some other things.
Yeah.
And it's interesting because it was 1780, a winter's ball. And she says it's Ben Franklin with a key and a kite, which didn't happen until 1782. So again,
I thought you said 1752.
Shit. I'm sorry, Lynn. I didn't mean to call you out like that. That timeline follows, and I apologize.
Now, something I have in my notes about this key and kite.
See it, right?
Is I have key plus kite equals static electricity equals light bulb? Question mark? Like, how did we get there? How did we get from that key and that kite to the light bulb?
Well, okay. So I think, I don't exactly know the mechanics of the key and the kite experiment.
I just kind of thought that like he was struck by lightning or like the key
I think that's what happened.
But
right? And he was like, we can like harness this energy somehow. But how?
I still don't
how
get
he got from point A to point B?
Right.
I don't know.
I missed the journey.
I fear I have no idea how he got there either.
Everyone's always like, Ben Franklin invented electricity because he tied a key to a kite, was electrocuted by the lightning. He was hit by lightning. And then next thing you know, we have light bulbs. And I was like,
and everyone's like,
And
yeah,
I was like,
tracks.
whoa.
Yeah, you're like, back up.
So much in there.
I feel like there's a section that you're not explaining to me of how this works.
I can see how you would be like, wow, metal attracts the lightning.
Right.
Dangerous. The end.
Well, okay.
Tell me about it.
I'm going to make an attempt to explain this, but I don't really explain it.
Okay.
Well, because I don't understand it.
Because again, we've watched videos for days.
Oh my God, yes.
And researched for days.
Here's
and
the
I still
thing.
don't get it.
Here's the thing about electricity. Haylie and I understand the basic mechanics of...
Something about steam.
Yes. Okay, so what happens is, like steam energy is like, we get water really, really hot.
Yes, we boil water. That's and how we get steam.
Yes, and the steam moves like a turbine or something.
Yes.
That is generating...
There was something about turbines.
Yes, is generating like energy. And then that's where you lose.
I know. And here is my thing, is I'm kind of like, okay, so where does the energy, where does the electricity come from? Are there electric factories somewhere? There has to be, because where is it coming from?
There are energy plants.
And then so it's there. And how does it get from there to my house? Some sort of cord. Like a wire.
Yeah.
Just like, it's like, what is it? Like a bunch of men in socks, like rubbing their feet on the ground and then like touching, just being like, and it's.
What do you do? I'm a sock rubber down at the electricity factory. No big deal.
And then like they touch the wire and then the wire goes from their toes to my house and then I flip the switch. Like, what's happening? And I don't understand how a switch goes to the wire and how the wire goes to the factory and what does the steam have to do with the electricity? And I don't get it.
So there are two different types of electricity. Okay. There's static electricity. And you know the word static.
Yep.
Right? It's staying the same. It's static, right?
Except for where are the socks?
There is also
that's moving around.
Current electricity, which is the steady flow of electricity, which is what we have in our homes.
Right.
And, almost nothing is generated off of
creating it.
The energy plants through the steam. I don't know.
What are they doing there?
Because the thing is, electricity is just when the isn't it like when the neutrons or the electron
something with the electrons.
Jimmy Neutron. God, why would I say it's the neutrons when literally the word is electron?
I think this is like the first time we had this conversation. It was the same thing. You were like, it's the neutrons, and I was like, it has to be the electrons.
And I was like, why? And you're like, remember when you called out Lin-Manuel Miranda because it was the winter's ball in 1780 and you thought it was 1782, but it was 1752
because you said it 3 seconds prior.
Yeah. So. It has to do with the electrons jumping atoms.
Okay.
Right?
Yes. And I know they're all bouncing around in there and they're having a party, but.
And this is where I become like a 3-year-old because I'm like, but why? But how?
It's like every time
it just, you break it down smaller and smaller, and I still can't get it.
And I don't get it.
But like, why do the electrons do that?
And then eventually someone has to say, because I said so. And I'm just like,
and
okay, but like that still doesn't tell me anything.
I don't understand.
I don't get it. And I don't understand. Like, why is the electricity so high in the sky? Like, why do we, and I know that doesn't make sense, but or like telephone poles are so tall. Why are they up so high? Is it just so people don't trip on them?
I think it's to protect them, to some extent.
But then how do those ones work? But then we bury some in the ground and those work. And
well, yeah. And I think the burying thing is new. Let me say that.
Get it. So where does it come from and how does it get here? And how, all I know is like, I have watched videos of people being like, here is a house that we're building and here is a wood frame. And then we drilled through a hole in every single stud of the house, and then we've run this wire through this house. It's a big yellow wire, and then that goes into a box, and then that box has a wire that goes into another box, and then that box has a wire that goes into another box, and eventually you got wires that lead to the electricity factory.
Because it's all just flowing.
And then somebody says, hey, you used electricity, give me money. And I say, yes, ma'am.
Okay. Here you go, AES.
Yeah. And I'm just like, okay, I have no questions about how much money I owe when it comes to electricity because I don't know how it works. And I don't know how batteries work because those are electricity. And also, what about potatoes?
Oh my God, that was in the new Hunger Games book that they were making a light bulb out of potato.
I literally, the very last thing on my list, potato?
Potato? How does that work? I didn't look up how that works, so I don't know.
I don't either. All I know is that children can do it and you can make a clock.
I know.
But if you can make a clock, why aren't we doing more things with electric potatoes?
Potatoes? And what is it about the potatoes that does that?
Right?
There must be something.
Is it the water? In a potato? No,
because then you could just use any fruit or any vegetable.
But could you?
Yeah, like, I mean, a cucumber.
Yeah, but why aren't we?
Because it doesn't have anything to do with the water, I don't think. That's what I'm telling you.
It might.
It's got to be something else.
But I don't know, because think about like jack-o'-lanterns, and we're always using pumpkins, but like you can make a jack-o'-lantern out of whatever you want. We're just not doing it because society says we can't.
But that's not electricity.
But you don't know. Society could be.
I do know. It's a tea light that you put into a carved cord. It has nothing to do with electricity.
I know that doesn't. I'm just saying. Maybe society is saying you can only make a clock out of a potato.
You were just like, you don't know that. I'm like, I do know that. I do know that it is just a tea light inside of a gourd.
Yeah, but you don't know that, how the potato works, so you don't know that that's
no,
why.
I don't, but I'm just saying your argument.
My argument is that what is society saying?
But your argument about it being the water can't be true because there are things it can't be because there are things that have a much higher water content like cucumbers or watermelons.
Yeah, but
that you don't see people making light bulbs out of those.
I know, but could we?
No, I don't think
That's
so.
what I'm saying.
I know what you're saying.
Why don't we use like another root vegetable like a carrot?
Because it doesn't work.
You don't know. Have you tried it?
No, but there has to be something specifically about potatoes.
I don't know. I'm just saying. I think that people are just like, oh, a potato. It costs like 2 cents.
It's one banana, Michael. What could it cost? $10? No, I really think it has to be something in the potato. Now I want to know.
It feels like it's because it's a vegetable and they're like, ooh. But then I'm like, why aren't we having electricity plants out of potatoes?
It's because potato acts as an electrolyte like you have in your body, allowing electrons to flow between different metals like copper and zinc. Why a potato, though? I want to know why a potato.
Exactly. Why not another root vegetable?
It's something about the chemical reactions that take place between the metals and the juices in the potato. The juices in the potato.
Sounds like that's the water, first of all. And it also sounds like you could do another root vegetable.
I don't think so.
I think we could.
Can you make a light bulb with any vegetable? Let's find out.
Let's Google it.
Because I want to know.
Also, the way you said electrolyte,
Electrolyte?
You were like, electrolyte.
I know.
And so then I was like, I don't know what that is. And then you were like what's in your body? And I was like, oh, like Gatorade.
Yeah. Yes.
So I could make a Gatorade.
It does
clock.
exist organically. Okay, so You can't make a functioning light bulb out of a vegetable in a way that a traditional light bulb works, but you can create a simple battery using certain vegetables like potatoes or lemons.
Well, that's
Here's
not a vegetable.
why. Because some vegetables and fruits, potatoes, lemons, limes, contain electrolytes, which are acids and salts that conduct electricity. And there is an electrochemical reaction. So we're bringing chemistry into this now. That's just fucking great.
So all I'm saying is, see, it is society. Society is why we're only using potatoes, because lemons and limes could be used as well.
And that's fine. I'm fine
just saying,
with
it's the same thing as a jack-o'-lantern.
I just think that the potatoes are more abundant. And that's the thinking.
know that that's true.
Right? Because like the Irish potato famine, people were like, they were out of potatoes. It's like, no, they were out of everything else. So they only ate potatoes. Culture yourself. Read a book. She says, as she's trying to explain electricity while also not understanding it.
Get it. There are turbines. Now, how do we get electricity from wind? Because those are also turbines.
It's the same thing. It's like
okay, science.
I wish you could have seen Haylie's face. The skepticism that crossed her face.
She just goes, it's the same thing. It's like she knows electricity.
It's the same thing, though. When the wind blows, that's energy. And so when the wind turns the turbine, it's like a rat on a wheel, you know?
Yeah.
And that... They harness it. They harness it somehow.
That's where I'm confused.
I don't know.
Harnessing.
I really did really poor research for this episode. I'm not going to lie.
Here's the thing. I did too, because I'm like, yeah, we researched this last year. I know.
And I remember exactly nothing about it.
These are literally my whole notes for the day.
Just questions.
Is after the key kite situation that it's, where does it come from? What makes it zippy? How does it get to my house? Is it made in a factory? Something with steam? Potato?
Something with steam. So specific. Okay, well, here. We're just going to do a little refresher course because I just feel like I can't even, because I don't know. Okay? So, fundamentally, it is about the electrons. We know, right? Electricity is the movement of negatively charged particles, electrons, from between atoms. So they're part of the atom that makes up everything around us.
The Addams Family.
Title of the episode. Love it. That was funny. Don't ever interrupt me again when I'm talking about science, though.
I'll do what I want.
No, I'm kidding. I'm totally kidding. Because I was just going to say, don't even get me fucking started on atoms. Like, what do you mean everything's made? What are you talking about?
I know. And I'm
How
just
do
like,
we know?
Exactly. Who saw these atoms?
Yes. Who?
It's like believing in God. How do we know?
And then someone was like, what if we split it and it causes a ginormous explosion?
And everything explodes because we took the tiniest thing on Earth and then we just like cut it with a knife.
Yes.
A little butter knife.
The physicist, the chemical physicist, Haylie, that's the atomic physicist, is just in an awful world, just using a knife to swipe through air, just seeing if she can create the atomic bomb. I can do it. Okay, so when electrons move in a consistent direction
to the left
through a oh my god, through a conductor like a wire, is called an electric current. Okay,
but
I'm getting there.
But why?
Okay, power sources like batteries and generators.
And what is a battery?
One thing at a time. They push the electrons through the circuit. So they typically use magnets and rotating parts to create electricity. I'll tell you what, AI has gotten really shitty these days. That's all you're giving me?
That's all?
I asked you how it works.
And they're like, we don't know either. AI is like, I am electricity, and even I don't know.
It's having a crisis. Yes. It's having an existential crisis.
Please don't ask me. Okay, this is like asking, what is life?
So I'm still just not understanding.
Maybe we could call Hank Green.
So
maybe he'd explain it to us.
Please explain electricity to us.
What if we just like send him a link to this podcast?
And we're just like,
come on next season.
Yeah, he's like, I could never sit around and to idiots like you and talk.
You know, he would be like, oh, these poor
people
ladies,
know
they
nothing.
know nothing.
Nothing.
They should not be allowed to have a podcast.
Okay, so how does electricity get to you? This is an important question that you have.
Yes.
How does it get to my house? So,
and I swear to God, if it's just like through a wire,
it does. That's the answer. Okay, so the U.S. operates on 3 interconnected systems that deliver electricity during times of peak demand. The Eastern Interconnection covers the area east of the Rocky Mountains and a portion of the Texas Panhandle. The Western Interconnection covers the area from the Rocky Mountains to the west, and the Texas Interconnection covers most of Texas.
And the Texas grid goes down a lot when it's cold.
The process of electricity delivery starts at a power plant, okay? A power plant.
Like The Simpsons. Mm-hmm.
Power plant.
Yes.
The power plant generates electricity and transmits and distributes it to power lines, which when you think about it are just ginormous conductors.
Which are wires.
Yes, right?
So far the answer is still a wire.
Okay, but that makes sense, right?
No.
Okay, well...
You already lost me. I don't know how it gets to the wire. I get that it's a conductor, but like, how is it like zipping on through? Do not just push the air.
The energy that forces the electrons to flow one way.
But
like wind.
It's just something I just don't think I'll ever understand.
I don't know that I will either. So, well, yeah. I just don't know. It has to do with voltage. That's how much energy is pushing electrons in a circuit. Higher the voltage, the more electrons can flow.
What do you think would happen if a power plant was struck by lightning?
Maybe it'd catch on fire. I don't know. Surely it's happened.
Don't you think that it would just like explode? Like
maybe.
I just feel like if it is an electric conductor, how are they not always being struck by lightning?
Well,
do you think they're like coated in rubber on the outside?
It's not like it's not like the power plant is just one giant like copper building with like a bowl.
I'm sorry, do you know? Have you been to the power plant?
No, but I feel confident that it's not just like a copper building with a pole in the sky. Just like, well, hopefully we do.
Hopefully we get enough storms this year to power the world.
The town. Do you see what I mean? Like, it's not.
No, but they're a building conducting electricity. Don't you think that like if they got electrocuted that they would just like explode?
No, I don't. Because do you look around your house right now? Mm-hmm. There are hundreds of different pieces of conductors
but I'm
here.
not making the electricity. I'm just using the electricity.
But it's pushing it constantly. I don't know what you're not understanding. It's pushing the electrons.
Push that air one more time. I won't carry on.
Push the electrons towards a thing. I really don't know. So
I don't either.
I hope that people did not tune into this episode with the expectation that they were going to learn something
I
today.
hope you didn't think you were going to learn something.
We can give you years. We can give you dates. We can sing Hamilton lyrics to you, but we cannot tell you how electricity works.
No.
What makes it zippy? Why are the electrons jumping? Why?
Exactly. Now, and like, I'm sorry, but like if I were to like rub a balloon on my hair for a long time.
You're really hung up on this static electricity thing.
But if I like do that and then I like touch a wire, can I like send it to you?
No, because it's static electricity.
But I'm moving.
That doesn't matter. When you touch something, it dies.
It goes pew.
It goes. No, that would be current.
Yeah, I am the current.
You can't. It's static electricity. It's not how it works. It's like this was a really unsteady electron that's like, I'm in a teeter here. I don't know where. Yes, that's how I picture it. Now, I don't know if it's with steam. You know how, maybe you don't. I don't.
I don't know why you would think that I would.
You know how like molecules in something that's hot move faster?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know why I said it like that.
Very enthusiastic. Yeah.
I remember that because then they're real slow when they're frozen.
Yes, exactly.
Me too.
So maybe it has something to do with that, with the steam. Is like
could be because they're just bouncing around up there.
Yeah, and it's pushing.
I just swear to God, it's pushing.
It's pushing the electrons
out, and I'm like, you don't know this.
It's pushing the electrons. I don't know. Okay, I don't know. And
I don't either.
You know, it's truly disturbing, but it's good. There's so many people in the world that do know and do understand.
That's true.
How? I don't know. I just want to tell you about a time when my internet went out. Okay.
Tell me about it.
As it did many times when I lived in Fountain Square, like 5 times through a strange series of events we don't need to get into. But the guy had concerns at one point about the fiber optic, that it wasn't getting whatever. So he says to me, I'm going to call you. You're going to go down in the basement where the fiber optic comes into the house, and you're going to tell me if you can see me shining this light. And in my head, I'm like, is this a joke? What do you mean? He's like, if I shine my light on this fiber optic cable and it's working correctly, you'll be able to see it all the way. And I'm still to this day absolutely just befuddled by that.
Yeah, I'm like, I don't know what any of this means.
I know.
Feels like a magic trick.
It does. Like, I really thought he was messing with me. I was just like, okay, yeah, sure.
You're like, okay, I'll go stand in my basement, crazy.
This is just the AT&T man, you know?
Yeah.
Not just the AT&T man, but he's the AT&T man.
Yeah.
I don't expect him to be like an electro genius. And yet he knows if he shines said light into fiber optic cable, I'll see it on the other end.
But here's the thing. Does he know that because that's his job, or does he know, like, why? Because I am here to tell you there are so many things in jobs and life
that people don't understand.
Yeah, that, like, you can just be like, okay, well, this is how it is. And I know that's how it is because I've been told that. Do I know why?
No. But there have to be some people that understand how it works.
There have to be some people, but it feels like...
Don't give me those hands.
I'll push them
There
right
have to be... Whoa. She was giving me whoa hands. There have to be some people.
But it's got to be so few. And then other people are like, I know that, like, this will tell me if your internet is working. But, like, do I know why it does that? No.
Yeah, I mean, I guess.
Because maybe, like, our fiber optics, okay. Remember those lights from, like, the 90s? And it's, like, a big, spiky thing.
Yeah.
And then, like, light goes to the tips from the bottom. Is that fiber optics?
I don't know.
Because then they're just kind of like a clear plastic.
Just like all this time we've been waving around these things that we could be distributing internet with.
Yeah. It could be. We're all just like funky lights.
Suddenly, you know, all the knowledge of Wikipedia is in your head once you start waving those in the air. Somehow you get the fiber optic to connect to hardwire into your brain.
But it feels like they just like put a cord inside that. Yeah. Like a piece of wire inside that. And then they're like, see, there you go. Now lights on both sides. And all I know is those funky little lights from the 90s.
I mean, maybe, yeah.
Could be.
I thought you were going to talk about your Christmas lights. In your cubicle.
I almost gave you a seizure.
I swear those lights are not moving at the speed of light. They're moving slower because I can see them. I can see the current radiating through them, and it's bothersome.
I have these Christmas lights that they were like from Target from like 2 years ago. And what are lights made of now?
Now, I don't know. I don't know what they were made of before either. Like LED?
LED, yes. I was like, there's something, all the fancy new lights. They're LED Christmas lights.
And I hate them.
And they're red, white, and green. And I hung them up in my cubicle. And Libby came in and was like, are these lights like dancing around? And then she tripped over my trash can and almost fell down. And I was like, you have to leave the room. Like,
it was so... I literally, when they were all piled up on Haylie's floor, like while she was hanging them, I was like, I can't be here because this is making me nauseous.
And I was like, I mean, I guess if I stare at them for like a long time,
not for me.
Kind of see that, but
even out of the corner of my eye, I was like, they are flashing. They are flashing.
I was like, you're gonna have a seizure. Like
my eyes can see faster than the speed of light. That's the only explanation.
Could be. Now, what is LED?
I don't know.
I don't either.
I have no idea. You asked me, what are light bulbs made of these days? I don't know, some sort of special blend of glass and copper wires and some other shit. I don't know.
I mean, you found out the answer. You were like, LED. Oh, gosh. Let's see here. Oh, I was handed this by our producer. Oh, light emitting diode, a semiconductor assembly that emits light when an electrical current is passed through it. Well, I mean, that's just a freaking light bulb. Okay, well, that taught me nothing.
That's not helpful.
No. So, all right, let's get into it.
What do you mean, let's get into it?
In An Awful World.
Oh, I was like, didn't we already get into it? I can't do it again. I've already explained it to you as best I can. I don't understand. You don't understand. We have to move on.
In An Awful World.
Oh, Haylie.
Would we have electricity?
You know the answer.
I know, but it feels like we have to ask.
No. There would be no electricity.
I was like, no, we don't have to ask?
No, we do have to ask. No, there would be no electricity.
No.
Here's the thing. And I think we've talked about this before, that we would see lightning and we would be like, oh my God, well, that'd be cool if we could just have that in our home.
Yeah.
But then we'd be like, oh, well, we don't have to.
And then if you actually do get struck by lightning, you're like, yikes.
That didn't feel good.
I don't want that in my home.
Yeah, I think we're just going to have to, unfortunately, not really, be a candle society.
Yes.
Okay? It's what it is.
It is what it is. Because we would definitely be like, wow, I wish I could take the brightness of the sun and have it in my home.
Put it, yeah.
When it's, dark.
And that would be, we would be like, oh, Haylie, what a great dream.
Yes.
What a great dream to have. Mm-hmm. It is a pipe dream.
Yes. And then whoever invents the candle is going to be like, wow.
What about
we
this?
We made it.
Huh? Yeah. And we'll just be like, we don't need anything more until our houses start burning down. And then we're like, we need something different. But that's...
But we're not going to have anything different.
No, we're not, because there's no way.
No.
There is no way. No. I don't understand how it happened anyway. And I think what's crazy is like somebody like Ben Franklin or like Nikola Tesla, like it truly was like just mostly the two of them.
Yeah.
Like duking it out.
Yeah.
Trying to figure out this electricity thing. And that's it.
Yeah.
It wasn't like this big like group project.
That's because everyone else was like, I don't know what you're talking about. I cannot figure it out.
You're crazy.
You're just saying random words to me.
What do you mean we could have light in our home?
They're like, don't tell me it just pushes it away.
The electrons. You're just screaming about the electrons. Like, yeah. That's just, no.
Yeah.
No.
And Ben Franklin is like, it's easy. And the rest of us are like, it's not.
It's not easy.
It's not easy. And I don't get it. And
confusing.
I'm just saying, if my kite was electrocuted, I would just be like, well, I'm done with keys. I'm done with kites. Those are dangerous.
That's it. So I think batteries.
Keep the keys in your pockets.
I'm just thinking about batteries.
Okay. Because I did call Ty after we had this conversation one day to be like, are batteries electricity?
Yes.
Yes. I think what we came up with.
I think what's happening in like a typical, like a Duracell battery is a chemical reaction of some sort.
Yes, because I've heard of battery acid.
Exactly. And so that sort of makes sense to some extent.
Yeah.
Because chemical reactions generate heat.
Well, some do.
And heat is energy.
Is steam.
Right. And so much like the turbine, we are back where we started.
Where we're like, I kind of get it, but not really.
Kind of connecting it, but not totally.
Yeah. But there's like a positive side and a negative side. And then the things are like, and there's always like in your remote, there's always like a little sprang.
Okay, let's just...
You know what I'm saying?
I just want to know. It's the expansive power of steam to drive a steam turbine, which spins a generator, which produces electricity. Okay, here's how it
I'm
works.
So defeated
From top to bottom. Okay, here's how it works. First, a boiler heats water.
Yes,
we got that. We do that all the time. Kraft mac and cheese. We're all over it, right?
We got it.
Turns it into high pressure steam. It's pressurized.
So they're putting a lid on it.
Yeah. It's like in a small space or whatever, right? It's
put a lid on that pot.
Right. The steam then enters the turbine, causing the blades to rotate.
Okay, so like a wind turbine.
Exactly.
Got it.
And that spins the generator.
And what's a generator?
The turbine and generator are connected. So the turbine's motion is transferred to the generator producing electricity. What is a generator?
This is what happens. Everyone's like, yeah, I heard the word generator. It brings electricity in my house. And I'm like, yeah, but what is it?
See, it's more fun when we can like live Google some things because, wow. Okay, an electricity generator is an electromechanical device that converts mechanical energy to electrical energy for use in an external circuit. Every question produces more questions.
Yes.
It's turtles all the fucking way down. Like, you see what we mean?
Yeah.
Like, I'm sure people are listening to this and they're like, idiots.
I know. They're like, you don't fucking know what a generator is. And I'm like, no, I don't.
It generates power. I get that. Yes. But how? But how?
And this is the thing, is I'm like, the rest of you out there, I swear to God, you're just like, I know what a generator is. And
just
I'm like,
because
but do you tell me exactly how it works?
Tell me in explicit terms.
Exactly
what's happening. I want to know down to the atom.
Exactly.
That's
happening. What I need. Mm-hmm. Because you know what else I don't get is like, all of this talk we have had is like, oh, this comes in through a wire and is now in your house. How do remotes work? And I get there's a receiver. That there is a battery in there, and that there is a receiver. I got nothing past it. There's all this air. There's no cord.
Don't ask me.
We would not be living in a cordless society.
I have no idea.
If we ever came up with the phone, it would have a cord.
Old school remote. I just wish you could see the looks of like inquisitive attempt to understand.
A lot of crazy eyes.
Yeah, a lot of crazy eyes. Old school remotes had the little light on them, right?
Yes.
That has something to do with it. Because if you put your hand in front of the light,
then it wouldn't work.
The clicker ain't clicking.
Yes, because I remember, like, even in college, that my mom and her husband moved into a new house, and they had to buy a specific receiver so that they could use the remote when all their electronic stuff was in a closet.
Wow. Yeah, because you really, for the children listening, you really had to point it right at the receiver thing, right? Yes. Like if you were clicking it behind your head, no chance. If there's something in the way of it, no chance, whether that's the receiver or the sender thing.
Yeah.
So transmitter, whatever.
Something.
But nowadays remotes, no clue, because they don't have that anymore.
Yeah.
And you could be holding it in the air like this, flipping through, and it would work.
And I'm just like, where is it?
Why?
How is it doing this?
Now, here's something funny.
Magic.
That even the really, really intelligent people, Haylie, they have their flaws too. Because I have a MacBook, and I also, for a period in college, had an Apple TV. Mm-hmm. You know, the actual device.
Yeah, like the little white box.
Correct. So when I would use my Apple TV remote, when I would be on my MacBook, it would turn the volume up on my MacBook every time. Oh. It would also, do the stuff on the TV, but I would always be like, ah! Like, it's just driving me crazy. Like, why is this happening? We're too connected, So it's like, even the Apple people make a mistake or two.
That's true.
Wires are getting crossed.
That's true.
Why are the teeth blue? I don't know. I don't know how it all works.
I don't get it.
It has to be something with Bluetooth with the remote, don't you think?
I don't know, because I don't know what Bluetooth is.
I mean, I don't either. It's
all I know is that I can be like Bluetooth on, and now I can listen to my music from my phone in my car without a cord.
I know.
And I don't know what it does. All I know is that like there's a little earpiece, and men like Bluetooth, and I can listen to music in my car.
Yeah.
The end. That's all I've got.
Remember when like Bluetooth was brand new though, and people did have those like Bluetooth, like not headphones.
Like it was little headset, like earpiece.
And it was so obnoxious. And they'd be like talking in the grocery store, and you'd be like, are you talking to me? And then they'd turn their head, and you'd be like, oh my God, okay.
And then you'd like see them on the street, and you're like, is that person crazy?
Right.
Or is it Bluetooth? And now people have like their AirPods, and so it's the same kind of thing. And
it is, like, but at least it's in both ears.
Yeah, but sometimes like you can't see them from the side, or they have like long hair, and you're like, are they crazy?
Yeah, you're like, are you doing okay?
I don't know what Bluetooth is.
I mean, I don't understand the mechanics of it. This has to be so painful for Ty, because he understands the mechanics of a lot of things.
Yeah, he's like a big tech guy.
Yeah, way better than we do.
And we are not.
No, we are not tech people. So in an awful world, absolutely zero question in my mind, there would be no electricity. I mean, electricity would be there.
Yeah, but we would not harness it.
No. We don't understand the lightning monster. We don't get the key in the kite. We don't see it.
We don't see it, right?
Okay? So.
Unfortunately.
Yeah.
So you just have to have your candles.
Yeah. Just hopefully that will.
No tablets.
No tablets.
No TVs.
No TV. No computer. No nothing. And honestly, I don't know. Maybe that world would be all right.
Yeah.
If we never knew better.
That's right. We would,
it's like I wouldn't want to live without it now. But if you never knew better, would it really be that bad?
Right. And people lived like that forever. So.
Forever.
I mean, not really forever because we have it now, but like for a long time.
A very long time. So like thousands of years.
We would be fine.
It would be fine. Would it be a little less comfortable? Yeah. Maybe. But again, we wouldn't know.
Yeah.
We wouldn't know. You don't know what you don't know.
Exactly.
So
there's that.
Do you have anything else to say about electricity?
No. And I would never like to talk about it again. Thank you.
I would also prefer that. This has harmed my brain so deeply.
I know. I'm like,
I don't know if I'll recover from this conversation about electricity because my mind is still trying to put the things together. I will say one interesting last thing that's just fun to noodle.
Tell me.
There's electricity in your body. That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's what makes your heart pump. Mm-hmm. Why? I have no idea. But it's really cool that just like exists in our bodies. We're Zippy. We are Zippy.
We are Zippy.
And that's cool.
It is cool. But I don't want to know about it.
She said with her arms crossed.
That's right.
I don't know. I don't want to know about it ever again. Thank you. Well, this was season 2 of An Awful World.
We hope you enjoyed it.
Yeah, we hope you laughed. We hope you learned something. Probably not in this episode, but
maybe you learned how not scientific we are in this episode.
And we've been telling you that we are not the STEM people. No. So if you haven't been listening to that sounds like your own fault.
Yeah.
So yeah, this has been a really great season. We've had a lot of fun topics and like Haylie said earlier, there's still a lot left for us to talk about.
Yes.
A lot. And we also want to know what you want to hear about in season 3. What are the things that you're wondering if we would come up with in An Awful World?
Yeah. What are things that you think you could come up with in your own world?
I want to know.
Yes.
We want to know. Where can you tell us that? Well, I'll tell you where you can tell us that. You can hop on patreon.com/An Awful World podcast. And if you just enter in some information, and you can sign up to become a patron. And there are 3 different tiers with a lot of fun merch.
Mm-hmm. And maybe new merch coming.
New merch coming. And we have a little section over there called Thoughts for Your Thoughts. Let us know there what you think you would come up with or wouldn't come up with or what you'd like to hear us talk about in season 3. We will, we're taking a little summer break. It's been a busy year, I think, for both of us. So we're excited for a little summer break. We will be back in your ear holes in the fall.
Ew.
In the fall sometime.
Yeah. Join our socials, our Instagram and Facebook to find out when we'll be announcing season 3. We know it's the fall, but life is busy. So give us a second.
Yeah, we're going to let you know on our socials when we'll be kicking off the season 3 bash. And yeah, what a fun season this has been.
Yeah. Thanks for joining.
Yeah, thanks for listening to us be crazy. So we'll see you back in the fall of 2025. And until then, we hope your day is simply awful.